Hey everybody, I got some questions through email about the SAM Project 3, specifically about absolute references and also autofill. These are great questions. The instructions for Excel documents, they can be a little wordy, but once you master the skills completing these things, you don't even actually have to look at the steps. You can kind of just look at the spreadsheet itself and you can kind of see what they're wanting you to do. So without even looking at the directions, I see a bunch of blank spaces here. I only see two rows, so I've got rows 7 and 8 with some numbers in here. So I'm probably going to use these numbers against the percentage and carry it down. And then I also have years, and I'm probably going to have to expand the years down. So when I look at a spreadsheet, I would stress that you kind of get a sense of the overall picture first before getting into the details, because some of the project steps are kind of confusing. That being said, let's go look at the project steps. And I use a Mac. So for all of those people out there who don't like Macs, shame on you. You should like Macs. Anyway, Macs are a little bit different. I know some people have had trouble submitting their assignments with Macs, especially with Excel. I don't know what happens, but if you submit something and in your mind, you probably got 80% correct, but it's showing you got 0%, just send me the file and let me know, and I'll manually grade it. All right, so let's go into the project steps. This just gives a little story on what you're trying to do. Specific stuff, switch to sales projections. I'm already there. Use the values in the range B6 through C6. So B6 through C6. So this percentage, and it's wanting me to move it to D6 through H6. So just like I suspected, boom, completed. Okay, step 2. Use the values in the range A7 through A8, which are these 2 years, and extend from A9 to A11. So it's wanting you to add 3 more years. So just like I did up top, bring it down 2025. That was the easy part, in my opinion. Now let's go to the autofill. So step 3. Use autofill to fill the range A9, so A9 over here, through H11. So this whole thing. And it's wanting you to fill the range with the formatting from the range A7 through H8. So it's wanting you to take this and bring down the formatting here using autofill. So how do I do that? Well, I'll show you. Let's just do this real quick. And wow, that looks probably not what I want, right? But this is using the autofill. So here's what we do. So on Mac or on Windows, you'll get this little pop-up and it says autofill options. When I select it, I get a bunch of different options. So I can either copy the cells, which is not what I want. Fill series, again, not what I want. Fill without formatting, not what I want. But fill formatting only, that is probably what I want. So let me go ahead and select that. And now let me deselect. So you can see, all I did was I copied the formatting from this group and applied it down to this group. So that's all the autofill is. Okay, so we got the autofill stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead. This always makes me feel good, like I'm accomplishing something. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the font. I'm gonna put strike through. Yes, so I'm accomplishing something. Okay, step 4. In cell B8, so this guy here, create a formula without using a function. So it doesn't want me using any of the built-in functions, but what it wants me to do is multiply the value in cell B7, which is this number here, by the value in B6. So I'm gonna multiply 10,000 by 5%, which is 0.05, and then adds the value in B7 to that answer. So really what I'm doing is I'm increasing 10,000 by 5%. So let's go ahead and make that happen. So I'm going to hit equals, and then it wants me to go B7, and I'm going to multiply by B6, and then I'm going to add B7 again. Now, I know order of operations here, actually, this is going to work out just fine, but I tend to do this just so I don't make any careless mistakes. Okay, so 10,500 is my next value for 2022. I'm just gonna go ahead and not read the rest of the directions, and I think I just need to carry this down to B11, and I'm done. So let's see. And what the heck? Okay, now this would be really great year over year growth. Unfortunately, this is not correct. And why is that? Well, in the directions, they talk about this relative reference to a mixed reference with an absolute reference. So a lot of references going on. So how do I fix this? Because this is clearly not what I want. So when I double click on this cell, it gives me a chance to review what's happening here. So I have 10,000 times the B6, and it's color coded too, which is really nice. So I can easily see it. Now to get out of this view, you can either press enter, which will just redo the calculation, or just press escape and you'll be out of this. So that's exactly what I want. Then what's the problem here? Let's do the same thing and take a look. Oh, okay, so now I see I've got my B8, which is what I want, but my B7 is not what I want. I do not want this. The B7 needs to be the B6. So how do I get that to work? Well, this is where references come in. So let me go ahead and double click this again. I said before, I want this 5%. I always want 5% to be used in the calculations. But I also want these, so my dollar values, to increment up. So the next one should be B8, the next one should be B9, B10, and so forth. But this B6, I always want to stay here. So on a Mac and on a Windows, I think it's pretty similar, but what I do is I use F4, so the function F4, and that is an absolute reference. This means this will not change no matter what I do. And let me show you how that works. So go ahead and hit return. Now, check it out. It looks kind of what I would expect for year-over-year growth. So let's take another look. You notice B7, hit escape. You notice B8, B6 is still there, hit escape. B9, B10. So what this is doing in Excel, when you have an absolute reference, if you have two dollar signs, and you can actually type in dollar signs as well. You don't have to use those fancy shortcuts. But if you just Google, absolute reference Excel shortcuts, you'll see what shortcuts you need. But you can type in dollar signs. This locks in this value to be used. Okay, so that is the absolute reference. Okay, so I have completed all of this. So I'm going to go ahead and strike through that. So the last thing I have to do is copy the formulas from the range B8 through B11 to the range C8 through H11. And this is, once again, one of those things, if you just look at the spreadsheet and you don't get caught up in the verbiage here, it's just easy to see. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I need to make sure that these are all filled in. So here I'm going to select these, and I'm going to move it to the right, and move to the right. Now what happened? Why is this not working? If you said because we still have an absolute reference here, you are correct. So how would we fix that? So let me go ahead. I'm going to say Control Z. So how would I fix that? So I already told you that having this absolute reference here locks this in. So 5% will always be used. So that's why when I select these cells and drag them to the right, everything else updates. The B7 turns into a C7 and then a D7. But it always references back to the B6. Okay, so why didn't that work? Well, if you remember, I made this an absolute reference. I made this B6 just static. This will not change no matter what I do. These other numbers will change though, okay? So when I look at these dollar signs, I sort of think of them as freezing this value. So this dollar sign freezes my column, and this dollar sign freezes my row 6. So together, that means that column B and row 6, so this cell B6, is frozen. That's not what I want. So let me escape out of this. I want, when I drag this stuff over to these columns, that it use C6 and D6 and E6. So knowing that, which should I unfreeze? The B, so the column, or the row? Well, let's try the row first. Let's get rid of this. So right now, I have the column frozen, so column B will never change. However, this 6 will increment. So let's take a look at the behavior of this. So for this first one, nothing really changes, but watch what happens now. So we're back to that same problem. Even though we froze the column, that doesn't really matter. It's really the row we're after. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo what I did. Okay, so we're back to where we were. I am going to put the freeze on the row, but I want the column to change. Now what will that get me here? So let me go ahead. This is the behavior I'm looking for. In a single column, it's not as clear, but watch what happens now when I drag this over and down. See that? So now what I have is this column is going to change, but the row remains static. That is how I'm able to get this functionality here. Okay, to summarize, we talked about relative, mixed, and absolute references. To summarize, we've talked about relative, mixed, and absolute references. The absolute reference is a dollar sign in front of both the column and the row, and nothing changes. So when you drag or manipulate the data, this absolute reference will always point to that particular cell. So nothing will change. Now a relative is you have column and row with no dollar signs, and everything changes. So when you drag things around with nothing fixed or nothing frozen in the row and column, everything is going to change. And that's the default behavior, the normal behavior. But sometimes we don't want that. Then you have probably the most confusing is the mixed. So you can freeze the column, row, or you can do the opposite. And with the mixed references, you can either freeze the column, so then the row will change, or you freeze the row and the column will change. And this depends. This depends on what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish. Out of these three references, this is the default behavior. Everything changes. This is what we're most used to seeing. This absolute reference, this is normally good if you have, let's say, a value at the top. Like if you had a value at the top here that was like a tax rate or something, and it needed to apply to the whole spreadsheet, you would just always reference this tax rate, and it would be what, 5% or something. And you would use it all throughout your spreadsheet. So that would be a good use of the absolute reference. The mixed, this is actually a perfect example because you're having to fix, whether it's a column or a row, you really have to figure it out yourself. And honestly, I usually make mistakes on this the first time. I always think it's the opposite. I'm like, oh, I have to fix the row here. And then I fix the row and I'm like, oh, nope, wasn't that. Got to fix the column. So just get some more practice as you go through. It'll make more sense. This is one of the most confused areas of the course, so I wanted to make just this quick video. Hopefully it helped. If you have questions about the assignment or references, please reach out.